Hey everyone, it's so great to see you today. I'm Deborah Bringleson, and you want to hear this, I know, but it's a fact that you're losing 90 to 97% of your revenue before you even start. 90%. Stick with me for the next few minutes and I'll tell you why this is true, and I'll give you some practical proven tips to stop the hemorrhaging. So I hear from clients every day who tell me that they're overwhelmed, they feel like they're doing it all themselves, and they're on a never-ending treadmill. They always ask me how to get control over their business so they're making the money that they want and they're not working around the clock like many of them are. Maybe you too. So I want to give you some tips today on how to stop the overwhelm, get control of your business, and capture that 97% that you're currently losing. But before I forget to mention it, if you'd like to learn more, go to quantumsuccessacademy.org. Right now, go and get it done, and I'll send you a lot more information that will help you grow your business. So clients come to me from all over the world because they want more leads and sales and revenue. They want leaders who lead and employees who perform. And even though they are CEOs who've had successes and sometimes some really big wins, they tell me that they can't seem to get control of their company and their team and generate the income they know they should be making. Well, part of that is the fact that they're losing so much before they even start. And they tell me that this reality makes them feel frustrated, and a lot of them say that they're feeling like they're a fraud because they're the ones in charge and people are looking to them to solve the problems and create successes. And they've had some success, but then it all falls away, or they've had some growth and success and then it drops. I call it falling off a cliff. Or they're just keep chugging along and they're flat. So if this sounds like you, I completely understand. Believe me, I have been there. And most, if not all of my clients used to be there too. By the way, for those of you who are just joining us, don't forget to check out quantumsuccessacademy.org. But back to the point. So we're all in business to make money, right? I mean, that's why you do what you do. You make money to feed our children and pay our employees and have a great life. And most of the companies that I work with around the world who are losing that 90 to 97% of the revenue before they start are in a fog of confusion. I mean, think about that. A 90% hit to your bottom line, even a 40% hit to your bottom line is devastating. I mean, that's like $80 million if you're a $20 million company. That affects your company, it affects your life, and capturing that actually is not that difficult. And before you say that it is, some of you have heard me talk about one of my clients, Nadia. She owns a real estate company, and for the 12-month period before she and I met, her company had made $0. I mean, can you imagine going an entire year without making a dime? So her marketing and her sales teams were talking to her prospects about traditional real estate sale points, granite and marble and lighting and fixtures and yada, yada, yada. And no one cared. These buyers had a home and they didn't want or need a new one. They didn't care about marble and fixtures and all of that kind of stuff. They weren't listening at all. And these were her ideal buyers. So here's why. When we survey audiences, whether they're online or they're watching a television show and see a commercial or listening to a podcast, or maybe they're gathered someplace like at a conference, we typically find that only about 3% are in the market at any given time to buy a product or service. So how many of them are in the market for a washing machine? 3%, a computer, 3%, a new house, 3%, whatever you're offering, 3%. And if you're talking about the features and benefits of your product or service and only about 3% of your ideal buyers care, the rest don't care and they're not listening. So Nadia's brochures and her advertising and her salespeople, they all talked about real estate. Her website was gorgeous, probably the best I've ever seen. It had won numerous design awards and it was beautiful. and it wasn't making Nadia any money. $0 in 12 months. Her marketing team was very proud of themselves because her website was a work of art. So Nadia was also talking about all of the same things that her competition was talking about. She was reaching about 3% of her potential market. And guess what? Who was her competition talking to? That same 3%. And they weren't making any money. You know, most of the CEOs that I work with in the last 25 years or so have at least 3 things in common. And I bet you do too. 97% of your potential buyers aren't being touched. 97% of your revenue is down the drain before you even start. And you and your competition are all fighting for the same 3%. So how did we turn this around? Well, we did research to find out what Nadia's ideal buyers truly cared about. And turns out her ideal buyers were at an increased risk for diabetes, heart disease, and their children were at an increased risk for drug use, about a 300% increased risk. So I said to Nadia, look, we need to talk about diabetes, heart disease, and teen drug use. We need to put it on your website and in your brochures and white papers and videos and ads, because our research told us that those were the issues that her ideal buyers really cared about. They didn't want a house. They had a house. So as crazy as it sounds, that's what we did. And her marketing people, they made fun of me. They told her I was crass. The beautiful award-winning website that had virtual curtains billowing in the breeze made $0. The crass website with the videos about the risks of heart disease and how to prevent it and how to prevent teens from using drugs, that was used to sell $602 million in 12 months. So Nadia's strategic messaging talked to potential buyers about what they cared about, about what they were interested in. And once she had their attention, that inspired them to dig deeper. They asked her for advice. And as she gave it to them, they wanted to buy a house. So it wasn't as though we ignored the 3%, but we went after the 97% that didn't even know that they could benefit from having one of her houses. When her message strategically talked to them about what they cared about, her prospects were the ones who kept the conversation going. And they asked her for more help and information. Right now, I guarantee you that you're losing at least 80% of your revenue right out of the gate. And your competition is going after the same people. That's where the need for the hustle and grind comes from. That's something that I don't believe in. So here's a tip. When your prospects are asking you for information and help, it's a whole lot easier to make the sale than it is when you're trying to, coerce them into looking at your product. Here's how to do that. Do the research to understand what your ideal buyers really care about. And then start talking to them about that, not your product or service. And if you don't understand what diabetes and heart disease and teen drug use have to do with selling houses, you don't understand strategic messaging and strategic sales. But the good news is I will happily take you by the hand and help you understand that and actually help you implement it and do it. So go over to quantumsuccessacademy.org and you can get all of the details there. And I'm happy to talk with you further about this. Don't forget, like and share this video if it was helpful to you. And head on over to quantumsuccessacademy.org. Remember, it's .org, not .com, and get started. Thanks so much.